Hey, so what's good, YouTube? Welcome to the channel, your girl Natasha Nisha. So on today's installment to the channel, I'll be speaking about children and the enemy. So basically here I'll be unpacking how does the enemy get a foothold in the lives of these young'uns. And so if you care anything, like watch till the end, whether you're a parent or not yet a parent, even if you're just a brother, a sister, a aunt, an uncle, even if you're just a human, you can find some value with this. So let's get it from the top. So I've been noticing many times that, like when the parent is unhealed, basically they tend to parent from this place, from a place of brokenness, where they are absent-minded in their parenting and unconscious even. So this can render them now to be impatient in the way they treat their kids, getting easily irritated is some of what I'm seeing. And it can even have them saying harmful, hurtful stuff, in response to these children's childish behavior. And we must remember that children don't know stuff. So it's a parent's job to teach them, So there's also this crazy dynamic also with the children is the one side, it's your job to teach them, they don't know, and yet on the other side, they have this curious minds, inquiring minds, that they want to know everything. They want to feel, they want to touch, they want to play, and they will individuate soon enough, is something to know. So now in the situation whereby this impatience in treatment, from the parent to the child is constant, and parents now responding with criticism to the children's needs or mistakes, and this can, after a while, have the child respond by hating themselves and not even the parent. Yeah, so because they start to feel like they are the ones who's wrong here, because there must be something wrong with them, because why am I keep getting my mom unhappy, why am I keep getting my dad to shout at me, kind of a thing. So on the other side also, children are extremely resilient, and they can forgive and get over stuff, so there's that in their favor. But either ways, yeah, they can get over it and forgive, and they can even find alternate ways to change themselves to cope with this, even like they can start silently dying to themselves in order to people please, parent please, to get their parents to be happier in dealing with them, basically. So this is how children are programmed. This is the programming that this child is getting, and later you find that this child will accept this bad treatment from others in relationships, from peers, from bosses. They will have this people pleasing thing, dynamic whereby they accept this shoddy treatment from everybody else because it feels normal, it feels home to them, and they will need to heal from this to be more a whole human being later. So, they see this now as being normal, as I said. So this is their programming, and this programming plays out later, you find in life, as I just now mentioned. So, as I said, the child now will start hating and questioning themselves, and as like questioning themselves, like, why can't I make and keep mom happy or dad happy, kind of a thing. So this now is an open door for the enemy to come in. So the enemy comes into this young life, and he now sets up strongholds in the young life. This is a young life. There's no protection on their own. They cannot defend themselves spiritually yet. They need a parental covering. There's no parental covering over their lives. They're open, basically. They're vulnerable. They're young, and the enemy gets in at this time, and Many times you find that the enemy comes in to these young lives and he starts feeding the child with lies. We know the scripture tells us that he is the father of lies. And he'll start feeding the children with tons of lies, telling them that their feelings are wrong, and they will start to believe these lies. And you find that children, even many cases, they start denying the truth, and you find this can play out like a young girl now who is, born female, but then she all of a sudden wants to change herself because she sees her feelings and what she knows to be true as wrong and bad kind of a thing. So they want to change themselves, thinking innocently that if I'm not like this, then I will be better because this way, anyways, I'm not being heard, I'm not being understood, I'm not being accepted, I'm not getting real care, I'm being scolded, shouted at. So maybe I can just change myself. Then she starts identifying now with male and saying, no, she's not female, she's male. Then the lesbian thing gets in. This is all the enemy's ways when he gets into a life. And there's also this thing also whereby now these children are parentified in a way because, they're still very young, and now they're putting themselves in the role where they're trying to find solutions, but it's not the time, it's not their job. They should be like in a safe environment where they still nurtured, where they taught, where they cared for, where they directed, and corrected also along the way. They still need to experience this, and many times they miss this phase of life. So now they're there, not knowing anything, but wanting to find solutions. And so as I said, now they want to identify with something else because this person that I am is always getting my parents mad. So I want to be something else. I want to be other. I want to be other sex. I'm no longer going to believe my feelings. And they trying to change themselves from being this bad thing to being good for peace, basically. Yet they know not, they don't know anything. They shouldn't even, so this is where I say they've been parentified in a way. Yet they should just be children. Now they're taking the role on as a parent almost. And like, who will teach them and who will tell them? That is a parent's job, but so truly children are innocent and children are good by nature inherently, and that's why God actually speaks so harshly, on his judgment of anyone who will lead a young one astray. God is very harsh. He says it would actually be better if a millstone were tied around their neck and they were thrown in the sea. That would even be better than for them. So so as we find that now later, this child becomes the man, So we know that it said like from the age of 1 till 7 years, the child is programmed, and in the rest of their life, this program plays out, And so we see many kids now. Example, this situation whereby they come to a place now where they deny their own feelings, and then they grow up and they play. That's a programming as a child, and then they grow up and they're playing this out. So now you find that they can't even love, they can't even accept love from anybody else because they deny their own feelings, and they can't care for others, like truly make friends, because they deny their own feelings. And also on the negative side, even more extreme, it comes because now they start hurting others. They hurt others and they don't feel anything, they don't feel bad about it, because yet again they denying their own feelings. This is what they were taught, this is the program. And yeah, so there is this thing whereby parents actually break the spirit of the child when the child is still young, and that like takes forever to heal. It's like so unnecessary to do. So either ways, this is how the enemy comes in and uses a life. Then we're wondering, how did this person get like this, murdering people in cold blood, not even caring a damn. And this is the programming that plays out, and just to an extreme. And many times you actually find that family members, they overlook this. They don't say anything. They see it, but they don't see it as wrong. They don't see it as error, as a fault, because many times they too experience this, and that's normal for them, and it's not normal. So there's also the mindset of like, no, we're just making the child strong, basically, but actually there is a time for everything. At that young stage of life, it's wrong to break the child's spirit. The child needs still to be nurtured and loved and taught, and being in that safe space, guided, directed, as I said. And breaking the child's spirit at the young age, from that young age, or any age is wrong, but doing it at the young age and expecting that to make the child strong, in life is wrong, because this is actually making them weak. They're now broken, and they sometimes never have a chance of recovering and becoming whole in life later, because they're broken. There is a saying that the first cut is the deepest. So I don't know. Either ways, yeah. So there is this thing also about children, the children are innocent, and this innocent is played out also by them being loving and loyal to their parents, like 100%. They believe that you are older and you should know, yeah, you should know and better, basically, because you're older. You should and you do know better, basically, is what they believe. And then also there is this aspect of the children's loyalty to the parents at those ages, those early ages, is because there is this dependency on the parents, who will care for them, who will feed them, who will bath them, who will, you understand, there is this dependency. So it has them change, themselves just for peace sake. And thirdly is the belonging aspect, of it all, whereby as a human being, we each have this deep human need for belonging and connection. So children want to belong. I want to belong to this family. So I'm going to take on whatever role, is assigned to me here in this family, even if it's breaking me, even if it's hurting me, I'm gonna take on the role just to belong to this family unit. We find so parents can trample on this innocence of children. Many times I'm not sure if it's knowingly or unknowingly, but either ways it's uncaring of them. Many times this plays out because of their own hurt. And the fact of the matter is that, like, parents have a responsibility to heal before they even take on the role of becoming a parent. Yeah, it's important. And so just know, parents, that as these kids grow up, they will understand and figure it out. They will realize exactly what was going on. They will figure out your role in this whole dynamic. Whether you turned a blind eye, you were the parents who turned a blind eye and were enabling, or whether you were the parents who was abusive, kids will figure it out when they are of age. And sadly, you find that, like they want nothing to do with you later. They don't want a relationship with you. And the truth of the matter is, what you sow, you will reap, and you will reap it with interest. So, what are you sowing? And then basically, another thing to note is that later on now, children are grown, they figure this out, and then the roles have changed, the dynamic has changed, whereby now um, they are the ones who are strong, and you are the one who is now dependent on them. You are now weak and aging with every day that plays out. And yeah, the roles have changed. And yeah, so this is also just a word, to those youth, like, and of age, like before you have kids, like, be sure that you have the capacity, to parent. And like, because this is like a 24/7 thing, whereby you need to care, you need to love, and be responsible for another life, like, are you healed and whole enough to take on that responsibility? Do you have the capacity within? Because there is this thing with parenting and all of that stuff. It's love, and love is sacrifice. Are you able to sacrifice your needs and put others' needs before your own? And this others is that innocent child, your own innocent, you know child. And so I also just want to mention that, like, yeah, so if you're a parent and this is played out and you're wondering, like, how can you, many times, because we find that parents choose, maybe they were hurt in their upbringing and they never healed, because they chose to cope with their trauma, like, the easier way, by numbing it with alcohol or drugs and what have you. Chose an easier way out instead of maybe getting therapy or faith. So faith is a way out. Like, yeah, faith is a way out. And like, I mean, you're of age now, you should know better, and the responsibility is on you anyways. So that's all I got to say on this one. I just wanted to unpack a little bit, like, how the enemy gets into a life of these children while they're still young and vulnerable. And we all have a part, whether you just a family member, you don't have kids, but you see this, let them watch this video and just get parents to think, and like, let us do better by these children. So that's all I've got for this one. I hope you found some value, and I'll see you on the next one. You're going to Natasha Nisha. Peace out.